and welcome to an exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and we're taking a look at a light-hearted comedy, more of a dramedy. This movie is actually the first movie I'm covering from Touchstone Pictures, Disney's sister company. Yeah, I'm covering a Disney movie from Disney's former sister company, Touchstone. This was also released by Focus Features as well. So, like I said, without further ado, the movie I'm talking about is another movie starring funny man Steve Carell, directed by Paul Hidges, 2008's Dan in Real Life. Now, Dan in Real Life is a movie I have seen before, but I haven't seen in a while. The last time I actually saw this was in 2008. I believe this was a rental. I remember buying this at a closing down Skyview Video back in the day. I got a mintier copy than the one I have. I have the X-rental copy, which, for those who don't know, Skyview Video was an old mom-and-pop rental store from where I lived. They were they were a mom-and-pop rental chain. But Dan in Real Life, I found a copy again because I just did. So this, like I said, is really, really good. So let's run down the rest of the cast in this. So in addition to Steve Carell, we have the great Juliette Binoche, Dane Cook, John Mahoney, Emily Blunt. Yeah, it seems like I covered a lot of movies with Emily Blunt on this channel. And Diane Wiest in this cast. So, what is Dan in Real Life about? So let's talk about Dan in Real Life. So the movie focused on Steve Carell. He plays Dan Burns. He's a columnist for a local newspaper. He's sort of like the Hints for Hillary. If you read those in the paper, they're kind of like give you life tips. Well, he gives you like these like advocate. He's an activist columnist on expert on relationships. So he's also a widower. His wife dies, so he's there raising his three daughters. So he decides he wants to head out to visit his family. So he and his daughters head out to visit the family, along with his father, played by John Mahoney, Diane Wiest, who I covered in Parenthood. She plays his mom, Dane Cook, who plays his brother, and Juliette Binoche plays the woman that Steve Carell falls in love with, and then you realize is actually his brother's girlfriend, but they don't tell you until 3/4 of the way in the film. So, yeah, that's really the sum of this movie. And like I said, I really liked Dan in Real Life. It's not really a flat-out comedy. This is not a Bruce Almighty comedy like Steve Carell has done. This is, like I said, this is not your Bruce Almighty comedy or Steve Carell for years being on The Daily Show. That type of comedy. This is, like I said, more of a dramedy, and what works is Steve Carell. I think he is really good in this role. I feel like he's that family man that you always wanted to like. He's like that lovable dad that you wanted to like. And it's really, really good. I don't think this movie's laugh out loud funny because I don't think it's that funny. Like I said, it's more of a dramedy. There are some funny moments, don't get me wrong. 3 or 4 scenes in the movie did make me chuckle and make me smile. The thing I like the most is there's one particular scene, and it comes like almost at the beginning. So we get that Steve Carell, he goes and hides, and all of a sudden the woman that Carell has a relationship with, she turns on the water, and he's like all of a sudden getting hit and doused with shower water. So he's like totally soaked. So he's trying to sneak out, and all of a sudden he just rolls and falls down. So Yeah, this movie, like I say, I will say this, it definitely has a very Disney feel. Being that the movie's from Touchstone, I don't know if you can see this being Touchstone with focus features right here. So I wanted to kind of show that off. So for those that know, this is indeed a Touchstone slash focus features movie. Now, Touchstone has worked with Universal before that, and the movie was called Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I do have that movie. We'll eventually get to that later. But that's why I chose Dan in Real Life, because I wanted to cover a Touchstone movie. You will see a few more Touchstone movies in this series. Since I am adding DreamWorks, you can see some more Touchstone on my channel in the future. But yeah, I don't have much to say about Dan in Real Life. It's just a very heartwarming film. Now, it's very well made. I'd never heard of Peter Hedges as a director. I've never heard of this guy. Honestly, if the movie feels like a movie that Paul Wentz or the Wentz brothers would make, that kind of thing. If you watch my review of About a Boy, which was on my best list, Dan in Real Life has that same feel good type of film, like About a Boy or Parenthood. This is sort of like Parenthood, where we get these likable characters. You feel like you're in that family. The movie was filmed in Rhode Island, so I love this. I love when a movie's shot in Rhode Island. I think Rhode Island is just a beautiful state. It has a very slice of life feel, like something that you'd see in a slice of life sitcom or a slice of life drama. It has that feel, and that's what I think that Dan in Real Life does work. I really liked it. This movie, I will tell you this right now. There is one minor problem. Now, I'm not faulting the performance. The performance is good. I just honestly think that Dane Cook and Steve Carell don't really look like they could fit in as brothers. I feel like they could fit in more as best friends. There's one scene where eventually you eventually find out, yes, this does have a very liar reveal in it. For example, they're at the bowling alley and Carell is following Binoche. I do believe she's the actress in the movie Chocolat. I think it's Chocolat. Yeah, it might have been Chocolat. I don't know. So she's like he's following her, and they get to the bowling alley. So they're bowling, they're having a good time. Then they realize they kiss. Dane Cook isn't pleased with that, so I forget his character's name, but he gets very mad, realizing that's my girlfriend. He's like, let me explain. The girl in the bookstore, I found her before I knew you, so you know what Dane Cook does? Sucker punches Steve Carell real hard. Literally sucker punches him. Tells him. And they hate each other. They don't really reconcile. But eventually it happens at the end. Then there's a heartfelt scene that he does explain to his daughters. And he can't get along with his daughters. Oh, the one daughter has a relationship with the boyfriend who came from Boston to head up to Rhode Island. So Carell isn't too pleased with that. So he grabs his daughter, grabs her arm, and she's like, Al, let go of me. And then tells her, you cannot be dating this guy. You cannot. And then eventually she gets mad and says, you know what, my brother's going to drop you at the bus station. Your aunt is waiting for you down there. When you get back, your aunt will be waiting down there. So she gets mad, cries, and he's like, you're the murderer of love. It's like, okay, I'm the murderer of love. So stuff like that. At times it almost made me want to cry because I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in her shoes right now. It's really heartbreaking. Like I said again, this is a really well-made movie. Like I said, I love everything about Dan in real life. If you have not seen Dan in real life, I think that's all I'm going to mention. What I'm going to say. Like I said, like I said, it's not like your typical Steve Carell comedy like a Bruce Almighty, a 4-Year-Old Virgin. This is similar to Evan Almighty in how it makes you feel good. But I'm going to tell you right now, this movie right here is much better than Evan Almighty. I believe as a film, it's a very good dramedy. And I feel like it's just so good. I highly recommend this. Like I said, the minor glares about how Steve Carell and Dane Cook, they're not brothers, they feel more like cousins. But the whole entire family is good. There's one particular scene where they're eating pancakes and he gets burnt pancakes with a ton of syrup on it. Honestly, I think the cover is kind of I do not like this. I do not like this artwork right here. I don't. The pancakes, him laying down, I don't like it. But you can't always judge a book or judge a movie by its cover. If you like me, you thought the cover looked dumb. But I've seen movies that have way worse covers than this. But if you can ignore the movie cover, the DVD cover, or whatever, Blu-ray cover, still check this movie out. It's really good. And yeah, I'm recommending this. This movie right here I've seen once, but the ending is good. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but the ending is really good. I'm actually might be putting this on my best list. This movie right here is going to be on my 10 best list at the end of the year because it is, like I said, so good. But yeah, but minor flaws away, I really like Dan in real life. So I'm going to give Dan in real life a 4 out of 5. And the reason I bumped it down to a 4 out of 5 is because I feel like Dane Cook and Steve Carell just do not fit that brother relationship. They feel like more cousins. Feel more like cousins or best friends. If they would have casted somebody different than Dane Cook, this would easily gotten a 5 out of 5. But as it stands, it's a 4 out of 5. Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5. So, yeah, check out Dan in real life. I really had fun with this movie. So, yeah, that's my review of Dan in real life. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content of the channel, I have a ton of reviews up there. You can like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to get all of my video notifications. Leave a comment and tell me what you think of Dan in real life. Did you guys like it? But yeah, definitely check this movie out. So yeah, and as always, keep watching those Universal movies, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.